The Prime Minister placed Britain in lockdown on the 23rd of March as the daily death toll from coronavirus dropped below 100, until today. In the last 24 hours, 77 people in the UK died after contracting COVID-19. None were recorded in Scotland or Northern Ireland.
This is the world's biggest fruit and veg market, the Central de Abastos. And it's become a hotspot for COVID infections in Mexico. It's not hard to see why. It's an anthill of activity, a city within a city, as they say here. We dress like this to go in, knowing what awaited us. But most people here work with next to no protection. When you're lifting this, even a mask slows you down. And as for not touching others, this place gets 500,000 visitors every day. There's really no way that they can keep social distancing going with that quantity.
The colder months normally bring big crowds to Sydney's Chinatown, with people looking to warm themselves over a shared meal of Chinese hot pot.
People love to eat it during winter.
But now,
lots of shops closed. It's not busy anymore. No cars on the street. No people walking on Chinatown.
Chinese hubs across the country have suffered during the pandemic. In Melbourne's Chinatown, one of its most famous restaurants, Shark Fin House, shut down in February when customer numbers collapsed even before restrictions were introduced.
This particular need through their Project Wi-Fi. Their goal is to help learners gain access to the World Wide Web. Joining me now live via Zoom is Peachy Garcia, co-founder of Project Wi-Fi. Good morning, Peachy. Can you tell us what inspired you to start this initiative?
Hi, good morning. So actually, it's our own personal struggles as law students who inspired us to promote this project, Project Wi-Fi. While we had to stop face-to-face learning when community quarantine was in place in Metro Manila, we were forced to shift to online learning. And knowing our first-hand struggles with connecting to the internet, we realized we wanted to adopt scholars from our own personal funds at the start to enable them to continue access to education through the internet.
Reminding motorists this morning, the modified number coding scheme is suspended today until further notice. The MMDA says this is because the Transport Department and the LTFRB are still completing the list of routes for additional buses. But will these measures help ease the burden of our motorists and commuters? Let's get an update now on the ground with our Lois Calderon reporting to us live from Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. Lois, what have you seen so far?
Buses and taxicabs are among those allowed to operate in areas under general community quarantine, but commuters are having difficulty getting them either because of social distancing guidelines, buses are operating at half capacity, or because taxis have higher fares than buses or jeepneys. Senator Risa Ontiveros has also urged the government to allow jeepneys and buses to resume operations soon. She says while social distancing measures are important, allowing more transport options will ease commuter and driver concerns. In response, the Department of Transportation says they are closely monitoring the situation in order to determine which transport options should be allowed to operate. Assistant Secretary Goddess Libiran says the agency has already pushed forward the launching of modified bus routes to serve commuter demand.